Hello, everyone. Welcome to a fresh new installment of White Lives Matter. I know it's been a very long time, but a lot has happened here at my house, and we're just getting over a lot of humps and like a whole lot of other things that are not related to this video. So let's get to talking about what's actually related to the video. And this video is featuring my Union UFCW shirt. That's pretty neat. But what's even neater is that a whole lot has been happening apparently. I saw something about this wall that's supposed to go up. Apparently somebody approved the Donald Trump's wall. Good for him, I guess. It will apparently include drones and DNA stuff and all kinds of fancy things nobody's gonna want to pay for, including him. And there's just a lot of stuff going on. We just had Indigenous Peoples Day, and I'm glad that more and more places are getting away from Columbus Day. I still heard and saw a lot of advertisements for Columbus Day, but not nearly as much as in the past. And we as a society are definitely moving on from celebrating colonialism and genocide and slavery, which is awesome. That's awesome. Something that I saw that really struck me just a few minutes ago was Terry Crews came out about being sexually assaulted by this guy. His last name starts with a W. I don't really know how to pronounce it. Harvey is his first name. That also sexually assaulted Gwyneth Paltrow, Angelina Jolie, and very many others of that group. And a lot of people came out in support of Terry Crews. Not only did I read the article, I also read his linked tweets, and I also read some of the comments of those tweets, and everybody is just downright 100% supportive. A lot of things really struck me in that article. First of all, it's Terry Crews, so everybody's thinking, why don't you just whoop this dude's ass? And of course, Terry Crews wanted to whoop this dude's ass. But even Terry Crews is not immune to the social dynamics and power structures and so what have you. And of course, he would like to be able to be employed, to be able to support himself and his family. So he didn't whoop this dude's ass, even though he totally could have. And we all know he could have. But from his perspective, it was a matter of like, this big black man beating up this old white dude, which never looks good for anyone, regardless of where you work or where you are. And he also expressed a lot of sympathy towards other sexual assault victims. With going from that to the other thing that really struck me is that a lot of people still only associate male and female and man and woman, when I would like to proudly announce that it doesn't matter what's going on with your sex, be you male, female, or intersex, and no matter what's going on with your gender, be you man, woman, other, long list dynamics of other, cis, trans, whatever have you, sexual assault impacts everyone. And we shouldn't narrow this down to just two groups of people, especially when we know that there's more than just two groups of people. Very, very many things back, I read an article specifically about men sexual assault victims, and a lot of them were trans men that were assaulted back when they were living another life. And when these kinds of things happen, and then people say these isolating binary things, I think about that article, and I think about how intersex people are treated in our society, and how all of these power structures and all of these labels that we use really hurt us all when we acknowledge violence against other people. And I am one of many that is very thankful to Terry Crews for telling a story. Thank you also to everyone that reached out with true love and compassion. And also, I don't doubt that Terry would read some of his replies to see, like, there are a lot of people in there that also posted their own stories about sexual assault. And we're all definitely shooting for that 280 character limit that Twitter was talking about a few days ago because of things like this. Like, this is definitely something that has exploded on Twitter. And there's so much else going on. There's Charlottesville, that's starting up again. Richard Spencer and the Tiki Torch crew have marched through Charlottesville again recently, I will assume within the past few days. And there was a White Lives Matter protest announced somewhere, and that is a thing that is going on. I've also seen a video where a police officer is punching someone in the head, and a crowd is surrounding the scene because it's happening inner city, like out in, like, a lot of things that I feel like I see happen in neighborhoods, but this happened like maybe in a downtown area or something, and the crowd surrounded the police officers and actually started touching them to try to get, to try to break it up themselves. So I'm happy to see that people are being more proactive because people definitely want less people to die. I feel like a lot of people can agree on that at this point, and that's great. And we can only get more proactive from here because now we have these white supremacist rallies. And speaking of which, in Utah a few days ago, it came out that a white police officer will not be facing murder felony charges for shooting a black man on a bicycle. So the more of this that we get, the more restless people are showing themselves to be. And now this wall business is happening, and now this thing where, like, not only has this Harvey guy in Hollywood sexually assaulted all these women, he's even sexually assaulted some men. And probably some other people of various identities, as I mentioned before. And there's just so much going on, I can't really even at this point. Also, some good news and some local news. I should definitely get to the local aspects of things. There is a community self-defense workshop being hosted at the Walker Community United Methodist Church on the 14th or the 16th, I believe. It's the 14th. I remember that because I have to go to work. It's going to be in the evening, but there are many flyers all over the community, especially in Phillips and Seward. And I definitely encourage anyone who can go to go. And I just see these collections of things that I can't say that I never thought that I would see them, because I never thought that things would get this bad. Like, even me being from Louisiana and all the issues that Louisiana has, I didn't think that I lived in a world where things could get worse. But at the same time, things aren't necessarily getting worse. They're just more broadcasting. We have more technology and more ways to reach people all over the world. And these horrible things just, they get around like as much as anything else, but like, I guess people are just more absorbent of bad news. And I'm looking down at my phone to make sure that I am not necessarily missing anything. Oh, hang on a second. Something about U.S. flies bombers over Korea. Okay, so apparently we're going to war with Korea. Oh yeah, a few days ago, somebody, an ex-White House person, said Trump could bring about World War III, and I'm definitely willing to believe it at that point. And today is International Day of the Girl. Today is International Day of the Girl. That's awesome. Yeah, girls. Yeah. Okay, I'm glad that I saw that here. Like, I know it's not necessarily related to White Lives Matter, but holy shit, it doesn't have to be girls. No time is a bad time to talk about girls, because girls grow up to be women, and women are brilliant and awesome and beautiful. And yay, International Day of Girls. Yay. And speaking of girls, we've had a lot of issues with abortion. As there are more government attacks on abortion and child care and overall health care, it is also becoming more abundantly clear. Like, as this happens on the other side, it becomes more clear that there is nothing being done to retract any sort of treatment or coverage for Viagra. So people are definitely expressing their displeasure with the way pregnancy and children are being treated, but people with penises can keep their game going, but nobody wants to take care of these people that are basically subjected to these penises and the people attached to them, which really links everything together, because a lot of these attacks on our society come from white men. These police officers that are killing people without repercussion, not to ignore that sometimes there are repercussions to police officers behaving badly or just being downright murderers. A lot of times there aren't. It doesn't happen on the same scale. We hear about police officers getting away with assault and murder because those are the things that usually happen. But I've noticed that there's a huge gap in privilege of when it is a white police officer, they get away with a whole lot of everything under the sun. Even if they don't get murder charges or anything, even if they get suspension, I find that they usually get suspension with pay. And men, because I've seen a lot of cases where female officers have been fired and suspended and have suffered legal recourse, and men don't. And then black men, where a lot of black police officers or otherwise color will suffer repercussions in the court as they should, and white male police officers get away with a lot of the things that they do. And now then there were a lot of issues with the police in the first Charlottesville encounter, and now we're about to have another Charlottesville encounter, because they're not going to just let these people pass through their neighborhoods with tiki torches. They didn't do it the first time, they're not going to do it this time. And yeah, I mean, like, this is pretty much turned into a fucking mess, and I'm really worried. And I feel like I should be, but fortunately we all have this glorious platform called the internet that helps us cope and communicate these things. And I'm still looking at Facebook. I feel like this is how I don't get depressed about things. Like, it definitely helps to be able to voice an opinion and a perspective. And of course, I follow a lot of anti-fascist pages that have their own type of spin on such news. But I normally say that I don't like being told what to think. But since I'm already aligned with these people in similar thought, I'm okay with getting things from their perspective. And there's also a video game that came out recently, or is coming out, that has a very anti-Nazi established marketing perspective. And apparently that's a controversial perspective to have, because, you know, most Nazis and white supremacists are white men. And they thank you for that. Thank you for telling the world what we already need to know, that white supremacists and Nazis are wrong. And I do hope the game releases with like the best fucking release date ever. I hope it blows Halo out the fucking water. And I don't have a console, but I will probably buy it. And I feel like there are already lots of games about Nazis. Like, aren't there as many games about Nazis as there are zombies? I feel like we've been killing Nazis and zombies in video games for a long time. And also in movies and books and stuff for a long time. But, like, now it's bad. I don't understand that. But every anti-Nazi game we get, every anti-white supremacist game we get, every game, you know, showing intolerance to intolerance is a one-up, it's a step up. We're gonna take that. I do. Oh yeah, there's also this other thing. This is gonna be a 20-minute video. The man that was beaten by white supremacists in that Marriott parking garage is there's a warrant out for his arrest, and he's facing the same felony charges as the people that beat him, when there's a whole video out of this person being beat by like 5 people, as I recall. I didn't see the video, I saw the pictures. And it looks like, from what I recall, there's like more than 2 people beating the shit out of this one dude. But for some reason, he's also facing felony charges as a victim of this very brutal assault that could have very easily killed him. Like, they're beating him with very large objects, as I'm sure many of you already know. If you haven't seen the video or haven't seen pictures, I would suggest that you do, and you become clear on the situation that's happening, because there is no reason why this victim of this brutal assault should be facing the same charges as the people that assaulted him. So that is pretty much that. There's a lot more to go on, and I'll make a separate video about that, because it's a whole bunch of personal stuff. But in the meantime, y'all take care of yourselves and each other, fight white supremacy, and kill your local rapist. Have a good night.